right, Seahawks fans, you know that we have hit the low point of the offseason when the only thing that the national media is giving us is just trade after trade after trade. Even when we don't want the trades, we don't need the trades. Yet here I am trying to bring you daily content on Seahawks Digest. So that means reacting to what NFL insiders label as one trade each NFL team should consider before the 2026 season starts. And at least for this one, it is actually something new that I have not discussed with you guys. It was something that I had not seen before. And I guess if it's not Max Crosby, I'm down to talk about it. You know what else I got to talk about? I hate to do it to you, but you know that it's part of what we do on every episode is give you a quick Prize Picks ad read before we get to it. Use code DIGEST when you're signing up. They give $50 when you play your first $5 in lineups. Thank you, Prize Picks, for your support. All right, let's get to the trade idea. They say that we should send a mid-round 2027 draft pick to Las Vegas for Jackson Powers Johnson, an interior offensive lineman. Okay. Sure, let's unpack that for today's episode. As with all of this, drop a comment. Let me know what you think about it. Anthony Bradford is one of the different people that they listed in this. It is susceptible to the, let's call it vulnerable. I think that's the word I was going for there, to lose his spot. We've talked earlier this offseason about how the rookie that we drafted, Bo Stevens, out of Iowa, is the greatest challenger to Anthony Bradford. And I had a little back and forth with you guys in the comment section, and that's why I always say I love hearing from you guys, because you see it differently, about the level of trust that you have for a rookie going into certain positions. Rookie quarterbacks, rookie offensive linemen, to me, I understand the upside of if they're really good at their job, why not get them out there? But it worries me to a degree of just like, that's a really big support piece to the overall machine continuing to run smoothly. So sometimes I think there is just an acclimation period of, even if unless Bo Stevens is coming out as Trent Williams and just being like, this guy's the greatest thing to ever happen to offensive linemen, which I don't get the sense. I get the sense. I think that he's really good. And I think that Bo Stevens is going to be a great Seahawk for many numbers of years. I just do question jumping into the deep end right away. So, okay, I can be talked into a Jackson Powers Johnson discussion. He is a Raider who, to me, I guess what is the interesting in all of this trade scenario versus other trade scenarios is they talk about here, he is a Raider lineman who is at risk of losing his job. And if he loses his job, then Clint Kubiak should give his former team a parting gift, which I just don't think that anybody does that in the NFL. And I've seen that floated around of like, oh, well, he might really know these guys, and so want to make him a sweet little deal or do something. I kind of think that NFL is a zero-sum game and everyone's trying to be competitive. And so nobody is like, oh, man, I used to work there, so let's really hook it up. But I also kind of think it's interesting to be like, Anthony Bradford is at risk of losing his job, so how about we trade for somebody else who lost their job and swap out like complementary pieces? On that one, the one thing that I do kind of think is interesting, and will entertain, I'll tug on the thread on this one, is if it is a mid-round 2027 draft pick, like Seahawks are in a position right now where they do have a lot of draft capital in the next couple of drafts, and I can be talked into not needing to hold on to all of it. Yes, there is a certain amount of allure of like, man, in 27, we picked up all these good DBs and receivers and whatever it was that we needed. We plugged and played this whole great generation. But I can also believe that draft picks sometimes flop. Like, there's going to be a couple of guys that we drafted this year that go to the practice squad. There's going to be a couple guys drafted every year by everybody that just don't make it, that don't pan out, that don't this, that, and the others. So to be able to trade a mid-round draft pick for something in return that you can plug and play right now into a defending Super Bowl champion is interesting. I also think that offensive line, I don't hate the concept of depth affording you some degree of comfort. Certainly you don't see people rotating as willy-nilly. It'd be like the way that you do with a safety, where I've seen a lot of conversation this offseason about how Ty Okada and Bud Clark might just end up being, no one's really the starter. Mike Macdonald's going through and, for nickel, we do this. For dime, we do this. For this package, this guy's the run guy. And you're like, cool, great. Fresh legs, keep them going. You don't see that done really at all, if not nearly as much, on the offensive line end. You like a good, consistent, who are your starting five, get them out there playing together as much as possible. So while I don't want to advocate for let's build up a rotational group, I think that of all the trades that I'm hearing talked about, and I get that a lot of my videos right now, like I said, in the certain depth of the offseason, you just get nothing left to talk about until camp starts, where it's like trades. But if we're going to be talking about like big swings versus small swings, I'm fine taking a couple of little batting practice hacks at this one and just seeing if we can't accumulate at least enough of an offensive line competition to be able to say that we know for sure the one that ends up starting is actually the right guy, and not have to reactionary like 5 weeks in be like, oh my gosh, we're absolutely getting blasted on the right side of the O-line. We need to go get help. And if we don't go get help by next week, it's too late. And then a sack happens and we lose a game. And then it's also like in the middle of the season, we're trying to plug in this dude. So I guess if we can get that and then have Bradford and Bo Stevens and Powers Johnson all competing for the right guard spot, and then someone trickles out in depth, and we just know early on that we've got options and we've got backups, and keep everybody, little fire under their seat, I guess I'm in. Let me know what you think. Drop a comment, like, subscribe, all those other good things. Before we get out of here, got to give you another Prize Picks ad read. Thank you very much to them for sponsoring the channel. America's #1 sports pick app. Best way to get in on the action. And right now, if you want to get in on the action, you can use the code DIGEST, DIGEST, when you are signing up, and they'll hook you up with $50 when you play your first $5 in lineups. If you are a returning user, no worries. They've got you covered still. They got their Taco Tuesdays going on all Tuesday. Every Tuesday, their board is serving up discounted projections. And you can close out your week with your Flex Fridays. Use your Flex Friday bonus to boost your payouts by up to 40%. Again, that's code DIGEST, DIGEST, when you are signing up, and they'll hook you up with $50 when you play your first $5 in lineups. All right? That's what I've got for you today. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in to another episode of Seahawks Digest, one day closer to the start of the season and some actual good stuff to talk about. See you next time.